Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Theatergoers. I'm your host, Tony. This is my boy, Tafari.
Uh,
You can see him directly. Today, oh man, today's an exciting day. Today, I'm excited for this episode because not only are we talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, which I'm already going to say it right now, I loved it. I really did. I loved it a lot. But we're also going to talk about not only just to keep it common, we're going to talk about Spider-Man in comparison, a little bit of nostalgia because we seem to thrive on that on this show
yeah.
a lot. And then we're also going to talk about new Phase 4 that Marvel revealed at the Comic Con this past weekend. I can't wait to talk about that. When I heard about what's going to happen, the series, the movies, the cast, I got to tell you, I'm so excited for that. But Tafari, did you happen to catch the Phase 4 announcements, or like do you, or like what have you heard about it that makes you like go yes?
I caught it, and I feel like it's Disney is pulling a powerhouse move with the Disney Plus thing because now you have to watch all these shows to keep up with the MCU. Like WandaVision apparently ties directly into her involvement in what is it, the new Doctor Strange? Yeah. So you have to watch
Yeah.
her show. It's not like Agents of Shield where it's like, hey, this is technically the MCU, but legally we can't say it's the MCU. But this also took place in the entire like the reason the Tesseract is in the where were they at, like Germany in the beginning of the second Avengers? Apparently it got taken in the Agents of Shield and that triggered the
Yeah.
events of Avengers Age of Ultron, but they weren't legally able to say like, oh, the Avengers
Oh,
will fix it.
I never watched Agents of Shield, but
It's like
is it
it's an hour
is it
long and 100
connected to the
episodes
movies? Because
in. I
I'm not
can't.
sure.
Are we? Okay, see, I'm one of those guys. I'm one of the ones where it's like I'm one of those guys when it comes to shows like Smallville and stuff. When it's over, I'm like, all right, let me go see what the hype was about.
Right, when
I
it's
still need to give
because
Lost a
it's all the
chance.
hype now. When I want to follow it when no one talks about it anymore. I don't want any more spoilers or anything
Do we
like
know why
that.
Coulson is alive? Does that ever get revealed?
Yes.
Because I googled it and like Reddit seems to be like
you
Reddit seems to have like a hush rule about not
you
discussing it out loud for
see,
people who don't watch
if
it.
you pay attention to the movies, Coulson's been dead since the first Avengers movie, and that was back in 2012.
Yeah.
But the show, he's the star.
So did they just pull
Right.
a Nick Fury in
Ooh.
Nick Fury in what was it in Winter Soldier?
Yeah, it was Winter Soldier, the one where Fury was suspected dead,
Yeah.
and then he came out like alive, basically. Mm, okay. Um, but I'll tell you what, the one thing we'll get into, but I'm just gonna say now, the my favorite thing so far that I'm excited for is Thor 4, Love and Thunder, and Blade.
Yeah. So is Thor
Those are
a
the
movie
two
or a
ones.
show?
Those are the those are the two I'm super excited for. But let's say that for the end because there's so much to talk about with that. Right now, Spider-Man: Far From Home. So here we are. This is the first movie, and the timeline follows it. This is the first movie after Endgame. So this is when everyone that was gone after the snap for 5 years have all come back, including Peter, apparently some of his friends, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Apparently, everyone important got caught in the snap.
Yeah, right. The one thing that I and you and I had talked about this after Endgame with Anthony
Yeah.
too is if how are they gonna do this right after Endgame, and how are they gonna fix the whole 5 years thing? Like, is everyone gonna look the same or whatever? Like, we talked about this after we watched Endgame and talked about it. The very first thing they do is talk about that.
Yeah.
I
The
was
blip.
I was I was very happy about that.
Yeah, they got right to the point of just like, hey, we know you're confused. Here's the answer to all your questions. We're gonna call it the blip and just bring everyone. Which somebody I was listening to on the radio brought up a good point. What about the people who are like on planes and stuff, or like flying, or in like a dangerous location when they got poofed?
I guess maybe they didn't want to get that dark, or like let's say the pilot of a plane like that was the one that blipped and his co-pilot, and then uh, I don't think they want to go there. But the best thing is that they explained. First of all, I hate the name. I liked it better when it was called the snap, not the
I
blip.
mean, the
That
blip
I
is
don't
the
know who thought
return
of that.
of it.
um, but okay, so the blip, they explained it right away. The people who did not blip grew up. They got older in the 5 years. Everyone that did blip came back as young and the same as they were when they blipped.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that New York schools have like a lot of schools that are like you basically go there your entire life. It's weird.
Hmm.
'Cause-
Yeah, and what was so funny is it was a great start into the movie, the great intro with the news team, like the school news team of that of Ned's. Let's just face it. This show is all spoiler alerts all the time. If you're not, if you don't know that yet,
Sorry,
you
Mackenzie.
need to leave. But
Oh,
Ned's
headphones if
Ned's
you would like to use
girlfriend
those.
was the right. Ned's girlfriend was the female newscaster, and then you got the funny ass dude as the other one. He was freaking out. He's like, "My younger brother's not my older brother."
Are we losing them?
That's the part where it's like, okay, cause they knew to get that out the way because that's the question everyone went into it with. How are they gonna explain the whole snap thing?
That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, okay, some people probably got new lives since the snap, and then when the one person's like, my wife, we had a funeral and everything, and it turns out she got remarried and just ran away with the guy, and then found that I came back and she decided not to. Like that was also his
Man.
his best friend in the movie. Hilarious. Like we went for my little cousin's birthday because this is my second time. My mom like
Hmm.
protests superhero movies. She can't get into them. But this is like
Hmm.
even if you're not a big superhero fan, if you want to go take like family to go see it and you want like a funny, friendly kids movie that's like appropriate but still hilarious, and whether or not you're an MCU fan, you can follow along. You'll get it because my mom
Hmm.
was cracking up at him and his like relationship the whole film.
No, yeah, it's definitely not only it's a standout Marvel film, not because of its position in the whole timeline of everything, but just the fact that, like you just said, you put it perfectly. You don't have to be a superhero fan, a Marvel fan, or anything. You can go there. You know Spider Man. You'll find this. You kind of find the story out as it goes along because even if you've never even seen Endgame, you kind of know what it's about. That's how popular it was,
Yeah.
even for non-theater goers,
Oh yeah,
pun
shout out
intended.
Endgame officially
Um,
with the number one slot, by the way.
oh my god, yes! You put that on your social media. I shared that on my Twitter as well, dude. I could not be
Yeah,
happier. I
people are
loved
mad
Avatar. I
about it. They're like,
did.
oh, they paid for it, but I'm like, Avatar is a good movie. Don't get me wrong, but like when you
Yeah,
think about it,
absolutely.
Avatar came out like 10 years ago, and like what? It wasn't bad. It was like the first like huge CGI film, but what
Hmm.
impact did it leave? Like Avatar was like the first poster child for I think the IMAX experience. And then
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, because I was only in like eighth, ninth grade, they also had a re-release and were like, come experience it again in IMAX and blah blah blah. And that pushed them over the edge. And people were mad that
right.
Endgame did the same thing. And nowadays,
I
movies,
was.
now that we
Yeah.
get DVDs and Blu-rays and Netflix so quickly, movie runs have moved on to like a month, if not like 3 weeks, depending on the theater.
Right, and then I think just like you said, the impact that Avatar didn't leave on people as much as Marvel had is because they did the one movie in 2009. I was like 15 or 16, so that's like ninth grade that I went to go see it. But they only did one movie with a bunch of promises to come out with sequels, but they never happened. So of course, like in the moment, everybody's like CGI, IMAX, Avatar, blah blah blah. It's amazing, and it got to be the number one best-selling movie ever. But that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Here's Marvel. Literally, Iron Man came out before Avatar, the first one. So Marvel was already building its empire. Avatar hit a great moment. It really did well. But then Marvel already started building its empire before then. and then it just comes to this accumulation of Endgame is now the number one greatest movie
Yeah,
ever.
so I mean, so props to Avatar for just being a solo standalone film that held that throne for 10 years. But then someone who
Hmm.
they put in like a decade's worth of, or like what, 13 years worth of work, and they built it up to
Yeah.
this. So it's only right
Hmm.
that someone that put in that much effort gets to take the top slot. And again, Avatar is
Right,
not a
and
bad film. Avatar is a great film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It just, like, I
totally
haven't
recommend
talked
it.
about the film in years. Like if I see it on TV, I'm like,
Hmm.
sure, why not? But other than that, it's like,
I'm the same way. Every time it comes on TV, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And the fact that the what I really respected is that James Cameron was a big critic. James Cameron, for those of you who don't know, director of Terminator, Alien, and some movies, and then he directed Avatar. He was a huge critic against superhero movies. He didn't like them.
really.
He didn't think he thought they were just like giant basic messes of a movie. But he did the right thing and sent out like a little message to Marvel, like on social media saying, "Listen, man, congratulations to you guys, job well done. Like, just I applaud you." And he wrote in a message in the language with the triangle in Avatar. I forget how it goes in their language, but it says "I see you," and it had those little spirit the things that represented the spirits on Iron Man's armor, and I thought that was pretty
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Those things that came to Jake at the beginning of the movie. Those little like kind of
I
jellyfish
remember what you're
things that
talking about,
just
but I
kind of.
need to go find the tweet now and see it for myself later on.
Oh yeah, no, you go like James Cameron, or you just type in like James Cameron congratulates Endgame. You'll see it. It looks so badass. But again, for being a critic of the superhero movies, for him to do that, that's deep. You know what I'm saying? That takes a lot.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's usually good sports. Like, Marvel was quick to give props to whoever was in charge of Jurassic World. I think when it broke the record for, like, biggest box office weekend, because
Mm.
they
Yeah,
held
yeah,
it
yeah,
for,
yeah,
like, 5 years up with the first Avengers movie.
yeah. Hmm.
All right. So
No,
back
and
to
then
back to back to Far From Home. Next
yeah,
topic you want to hit on with that?
yeah, sure. When it comes to when it comes, we just talked about profit, how Endgame became the number one best selling movie ever. I just looked at Far From Homes. They're already at $932 million, so that's probably gonna hit a billion.
Oh, they're definitely hitting the $1 billion mark
They're
by, I want
definitely
to
gonna
say,
hit the
this
billion.
weekend. There's no doubt about it.
Hmm.
Like there's no
It's
reason this movie should not be a success.
hmm and I think for one thing, everyone wanted to see the first movie at the end game with the snap and everything, and the way these people really how Peter changed from one person at the end of Endgame, the beginning of Far From Home, to the end of Far From Home, I think really speaks to how he's gonna come into his own thing.
Yeah, if you
You
notice,
know.
like, if you look at the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire, which
Hmm.
him and Blade kind of paved the way for everything, they did a good
Hmm.
job of like casting because high schoolers back then looked like full adults at some point. Now high schoolers, now every kid generation of kids looks like a toddler, which they did a good job because 16-year-old actor Tobey Maguire compared to 16-year-old Tom Holland, like it was easier to transition our first Peter Parker into being an adult, whereas this one we really
Hmm.
understand that, okay, this is a 16-year-old kid who's being asked to replace all the heroes he looked up to and have only been involved with for like what, a year max, maybe, like
Maybe
including,
two.
yeah, because he had the
Yeah.
fight with in Civil War, and then maybe like a
Hmm.
year later he ends up on a different planet with Iron Man
Hmm.
disappearing,
Hmm.
coming back, immediately having to fight an intergalactic war, getting
I don't
attacked by
think
like.
Tobey Maguire could have handled all that shit, honestly.
So I think they did a good job at like the Iron Man comparison, like how what was it, Iron Man 3, when we realized that Tony has PTSD that he hasn't dealt with, and he's like having
Hmm.
legit freak out moments, and we start off
Hmm.
with him trying to help out people, and now he has like realizing that he's done all this stuff and fought space monsters and all this other stuff, and he's never processed it, and it cost him his hero's life. You see that his PTSD is kicking in, and he's only a kid.
Right. No, because especially the PTSD, I think, really hit him hard because it wasn't just that some heroes died and whatnot. It was his mentor, his idol, his
His
hero.
second or third father, if you want to be specific.
No, I'll call him dad number one basically because Tony basically took Spider-Man under his wing from the beginning in Civil
Yeah,
War, and then and then he's basically being heralded as the next Iron Man. Spider-Man was, because even at the beginning of the movie, he had the Iron Spider suit and whatnot. He still kept the same suit that Tony designed
yeah,
for him. So I think, but that's what I mean. Like I said, when it comes to how Peter goes from the end of Endgame to the end of Far From Home, I think it's a huge leap for him. You know?
yeah. Kids, he's been through a lot in like what, a couple months. Like he went from space war, immediately comes back to
More
life.
than any 16-year-old should go
Yeah,
through,
he was like
basically.
either 15, 16, and went through space war, intergalactic fight, comes back after being dead for 5 years, has to fight again, only to watch his like idol and his father figure basically get risk his life and
Why?
sacrifice himself for everyone. It's a lot to take in for a teenager who still is trying to like get his first date.
While he's trying to be on vacation in summer in Europe, trying to get the girl of his
Yeah, I'm not
dreams.
gonna. I didn't know who she was before, like the Spider-Man series. I didn't watch any of the new Disney. I love Zendaya as MJ. She's hilarious. Like the
Yes, I
like dark
agree.
edgy thing that like I know some of my friends went through as like a phase in middle and high school. It's hilarious to me.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you because it's always like the most popular girl in school or like the girl next door or some crap
Yeah,
like
because that
that.
was our first MJ.
And
She was literally the girl next door.
yeah, and then even Peter's like first love interest, we'll call it, in with Tom Holland was this girl who was on the triathlon team, the super smart
Yeah,
team, super popular with people, homecoming, blah blah blah. And then it didn't work out because her dad's a criminal,
exactly.
was the vulture. And then these people spend time and they really like each other. I love Zendaya as Mary Jane because her version of it is completely different from anything we've seen in terms of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man series, and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man series. Blonde, super personable. Big personality. Blah 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 blah. Zendaya flipped that shit and turned into her.
Yeah, she really has made it her own character. Although apparently we were supposed to have MJ in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but apparently I'm blanking on the name. She Megan Fox herself out of the role. Like she got to shooting her first scenes, got into it with the director, and
She said some shit about the director.
while they were on set, and literally she had like one scene where she was supposed to be introduced. You see the back of her head, and that's it. Hence why Gwen Stacy got axed, and there were supposed to be future parts, but then that whole franchise fell apart because nobody was getting along.
You also why else that franchise fell apart?
Why?
Andrew Garfield pleaded with the network and or not the network, the studio heads and like the filmmakers to make Spider-Man bisexual.
Why?
I'm not sure. I guess that's the direction he wanted to take him in, but they said no, and that's why nothing else worked out with Garfield as Spider-Man.
That is an that maybe I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Speaking of Andrew
I didn't
Garfield,
know
have
that.
you?
I didn't know that neither. I had to. I was just reading an article, and then yeah, Garfield, blah blah blah. He wanted Spider Man to be bisexual.
That's an odd take, really, because even
Mm.
the like now that I'm older and I rewatched it, even Spider-Man 3 did the whole Gwen Stacy versus Mary Jane thing. Like I didn't realize that's who that's
Yeah.
was supposed to be when I was younger, and I don't think
Hmm.
Spider-Man 3 deserves the hate it gets. Like we all loved it when it was out, and now that everyone has Twitter, they feel the need to go ahead and trash it. Also, apparently there was supposed to be a fourth one that we never got.
Yeah, that's true. And at the same time, I'll say this: the Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, when I first saw, I was really excited because Sandman, Venom, or whatever Eric Brock was. Basically, he's supposed to be Venom, but I didn't like him as Venom. And then Harry Osborn as the Green Goblin. I'll tell you what, though, the movie was like may have been so-so, but the video game Spider-Man 3 was badass.
Okay, the video game was like the beginning of that next console generation era where
Right.
if you bought it on Xbox 360 or PS3, you got like the high quality version. If you were like me and you still had a PS2 and you bought the PS2 version of Spider-Man 3 or Force Unleashed, you got a downgraded version of the game that was made by a completely like only game that didn't piss me off was Force Unleashed because the third party company that made it put work into it.
Hmm.
Like they added extra levels and like lore. Spider-Man 3 has got to be one of the most ugliest games I've seen on the PS2 in my entire life. Like if you play that or like any of the other games that what is it? Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Web of Shadows
Hmm.
on Xbox is a beautiful game. PS2 it is an ugly side scroller that belongs in the Game Boy Advance. I was offended. Speaking of video games, did you ever play Spider-Man 2 growing up?
Yeah, yeah, I
Like
did.
this movie felt like a Spider-Man sequel that was paying homage to a previous Spider-Man sequel while being its own Spider-Man sequel. Like, especially the train part. Like
Right.
that part threw me. Like my mom jumped when that happened. I actually felt bad.
No, I agree. And then one thing I definitely want to spin around on is because talking about video games, talking about certain things is that like what a big thing in the movies themselves is always the villain, right?
Yeah,
The one I was very excited when I first heard about Jake Gyllenhaal coming into this movie because he's honestly one of my favorite actors in the industry. I love his movies. Nightcrawler, October Sky, Jarhead, a bunch of movies that he's done. If you guys haven't seen those, check them out. They're super super good. You probably know him from Brokeback Mountain. If you ever seen that movie, I personally haven't seen it, but I heard I've heard great things about it. But um,
Donnie Darko,
Donnie
honorable
Darko,
mention.
that's the first movie I've ever seen him in. Super creepy, but plays the role perfectly. But when I first heard he was in it, or he was committed to it, I was super excited. And honestly, it it shocked me the point of view they were coming at it with him as Mysterio, but the way he played with it and the way he like went about it in his own in his role, I thought was really good. I loved him as the bad guy.
Yeah, him is the I like we I kind of knew how they were the route they were gonna take, but they did a good job of like
Mm.
selling him on trying to be the good guy at first and like trying to
Mm.
be like Peter's new father figure to help him with all his personal issues and talk it out. But then like when the reveal happened, I noticed like the second time I watched it, he never made any physical contact with Peter the entire film. Pre his big plot twist.
Pre the handshake.
Say what?
Why I know Mysterio shook his hand when they first met, but then I don't think they ever touched each other
I'm
again,
saying
like
like
you
when he's
said.
actually like using his powers, notice him and Peter like never make physical
Oh
they
yeah. Oh,
never
when
made
he's using
physical
his powers. Yeah, you're
contact.
right.
Whenever he steps into place as the hologram thing, that's when he would go
Right.
and shake
Hmm.
hands or lay on the ground and pretend like, oh, I did this huge tough battle and yada. Like it threw me off. Not threw me off, but I was surprised at some of the people they brought back when they had the big reveal. And I'm like, they literally grabbed this
Hmm.
dude from like the beginning of the franchise who was just like in the background. And I'm like, was this in his contract? Like, you're an extra in movie 1 and then movie 27.
Oh, you talk about the scientist that was getting
Yeah,
yelled
from the
at
first Iron Man
by
movie, The
but in the first
Scientist.
Iron Man movie.
The
Oh man, when they flashed back to all those movies, man, I was like, damn, these people got history,
I'm like,
bro.
I wanted to go look and see if they actually got the same people for those roles that they just did the hair and makeup really well.
I don't know, man. A lot of them did look alike. Just just 11 years worth of like time and age happened to him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But I'll tell you what. In I don't think I've ever felt more proud of like what I was watching in Spider-Man than that moment when Happy came to get him. He's down on his luck. He's been losing this whole time, and then he starts making his own suit. And what does Happy do? He blasts
yeah. He blast the
what
Iron
was
Man
it? Led
theme.
Zeppelin, just like Tony. And he's like, "Oh, I love Led Zeppelin."
Oh,
and
that really ruined it
then,
when I heard the when I heard Back in Black play, and I was like, oh, he's gonna become. He's
mm.
like he's in his Iron Man mode. He just goes, I love Led Zeppelin. I literally was in my seat like, oh, he just ruined it.
Oh man, okay, I can understand that, but for me, I don't think I ever felt more proud than
Yeah,
seeing
that
that
I
moment.
know
I was like,
somebody shed tears watching basically him in like Tony's place, toy, and the fact that like we only see them in what is it Civil not in Civil War, far not far from Civil War, Homecoming, and both parts of Infinity War.
Endgame.
But the fact that we know that Tony in his
Hmm.
spare time was thinking about Peter enough to give him all these suit customizations and all these future plans to basically cater
Hmm.
and nurture him into a true hero that he could be on his own. So that we actually makes the whole his little suit maker. He pulls up all those combinations. You're just like, damn, Tony was really looking out for this kid.
No, you even got to think about when in Homecoming, he has the new suit that Tony gave him, the first one, and he finally got rid of the baby monitor thing or whatever, like
Yeah,
the
he got
kid setting.
the original one, and then he had the Scarlet Spider. And you thought that was it, and then you're like, nope, he has like 50 other ones prepared.
Right. And then that's when you hear what did he call his AI? Whatever, Veronica. I think it was Veronica. Anyway, she goes, "Yeah, you had 2,432 types of webbing." Yeah. And he's like, "Damn, Mr. Stark really went overboard with
Well,
this."
was
I
it Veronica? I
remember
thought it
that,
was like
bro. He
Heather. I thought it
thinks
was
about
Karen or
that.
Heather or something like that. Karen. It
Karen.
was Karen.
Karen, you're
I knew
right.
it was
It's
a very
Karen.
mom name.
Yeah, yeah,
In this one,
yeah.
he has Edith.
Um, Karen, and he goes, Karen, what'd you do? You had 2,436 different types of webbing. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Would you like to
dude.
activate
How do
instant
you even
kill?
find that many, man?
Okay, I was so glad to
Um,
see that like they made a joke in what was in Homecoming. Activate instant kill. No. And then the second he comes back in Endgame, activate instant
and
kill.
then, and yes. Activate Isika. Choo, 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 choo. I still laugh about that every time, man, because it's like activate Isika. Oh, now you want to do it.
Yeah.
Now you
And
want
now in
to
this
do
movie he has Edith, which is even dead I'm the hero, which is just Tony Stark being Tony Stark even from the grave.
it. I'll tell you what, his co-stars in terms of like Ned, his best friend, Zendaya, and everybody else. Bro, I'm sorry. I cannot take that Flash dude
Okay,
seriously. I
I like that
really
Flash is just an annoying rich kid who looks like everyone else and isn't just because like I substitute teach the big over steroided jock with the leather jacket like Letterman jacket that really doesn't exist anymore. Like in 10 years,
that's
like in 10
overplayed.
years from now, the animated kids will be the bullies. If we're speaking honestly, like all the Area 51 raiders, the Naruto runners, and the angry virgins, they will be the bullies in 10 years. I'm seeing it now.
So so you're basically saying for anyone watching the next 10 years your kids are going to be bullied by guys that run with their head down and their hands up behind them going
There
Hooah!
was a I saw a video on Twitter, and that's where I got this idea from. The tweet said, "Dog, in 10 year anime dudes will be the bullies." This kid literally was just like, I'm going into my battle stance now. Dynamic entry, and just hits this kid with a flying kick because he wouldn't leave him alone. And then he just starts like, he doesn't even punch him. He starts doing the weird little like side smacks, and the kid is just balled up waiting for it to stop because it doesn't hurt, but it's annoying. And the kid just keeps screaming, "Fight me some more! Fight me some more!" And it was like, it was bad, but it was hilarious. And I'm like, yeah,
Okay,
he's definitely a
so you're
Naruto.
making a guaranteed call that in 10 years, anime fans are gonna be the
I'm
bullies.
telling you,
Oh
your kid better learn
man,
how
I
to do a
can't wait! I
spirit
can't wait
bomb
to
or
take my
raise his
kids
hand for energy if he
to
gets
school and
beat
be like,
up.
"Yo, I can't wait to take my kids to school and be like, Dad, there goes that Naruto kid.
Yep.
He beat my ass last night."
But yeah, that's what I mean by them casting kids who are accurate to today. Like when I look at like the seniors when I was a freshman, those were like the
Mhm.
last like behemoths. Like when I played football, you could put those dudes in any position and they will play fast and efficiently. And then when you look at some of the kids
Mhm.
today who are like D1 scholars, you're like, that dude's my size, but he's like ripped with zero body fat and runs a 4 flat. So I understand why he's getting all these scholarship offers. So the fact that they made all of them accurate to like what the 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 nerds, the jocks, and whatever, and the cool kids are today, it makes sense. Also, the fact that we find out Flash's parents just don't love him at all. Like they said,
Yeah,
like
that was for me. Like, I'm sorry, but I thought it was hilarious. I was like, "Oh, mom, hey Jeffrey, mom couldn't get me today."
yeah, all the
Nope.
events that happen in the movie, and the parents send the butler to pick him up. Like, yeah,
all
sorry, he
I
almost
all I
died.
thought to myself was, "You deserve that, bitch."
But you find out he's like Instagram famous and just tweets everything that he does all the time.
So, God, he's so annoying,
He does a
so
good
annoying.
job as the new Flash. Like in the Tobey Maguire one when he's like the bully and whatnot, and he's he's always picking on Peter, and then eventually he finds even he can gives his condolences about Uncle Ben. And then this one, he was just like, all right, he's the cool kid who clearly will peak in high school and then just fall off immediately after. Like,
Probably,
like
yeah.
rich parents,
He'll
he'll be financially
he'll be,
stable, but he'll be a financially stable nobody, and it'll kill him inside.
exactly, yeah. He'll be able to afford to go to a really good college and then drop
Yeah.
out immediately because he can't handle
Dude,
the
Ned,
grade.
Ned
He
and his
can't
like Ned
handle
and his
the classes.
girlfriend in the film killed me though. Peter, if I seem preoccupied with my relationship and that I don't have time for you, I apologize. I'm just really, I was dying though. Like my mom was like almost in tears.
No, man. For in terms of like all the like comedy bits, Ned kind of made the movie
Yeah,
with
it's
the
sad. As sad
with
as
the
the
comedy.
premise of this movie was, with like Tony's dead, who's next? They threw in so much humor and it all fit perfectly. Like we had to put on the night monkey costume
Right.
and the dude caught him like mid changing and just takes the picture. He's like, "Yeah, I have to go show this to people."
No, and then the fact that again they had so much humor in it, like you said, but Ned was like the main thing with it. Like it was, he said he wants to be a bachelor. Then he gets a girlfriend
Right.
on the flight to the bachelor land, and then blah blah blah. Coming, sweetie, coming, baby, coming, babe, blah blah blah. Blah. And then as soon as they land back in America, nah, we figuring out right for each other.
Oh,
I
we broke
was like,
up.
what
Yeah,
the hell?
we figured that people can grow apart, but they can appreciate the experiences they have together. And they just have that emotional like touch, and then they walk away. I,
Coming, babe, coming, babe.
It's like I'll never forget you. Okay, can I say that like when they had the scene from the trail on the bridge where he's like, "Oh MJ," and she's like, "You're Spider Man," and then he was trying to have a moment, and then he finds out, were you only like talking to me this whole time because you thought I was Spider Man? I felt like my heart sank. I actually felt bad for Peter. I was like, "Oh."
So did I. Same. I was like, really, really Zendaya. I didn't even look at
I
her
was
as
like,
MJ. I was like,
I legit
really
was like
Zendaya.
offended at her character. I was like, she really played my boy this whole movie.
I know. That's why I wasn't even mad at MJ. I was mad at Zendaya. I was like, really, really Zendaya. But of course, she was just lying to herself because she didn't want to get hurt or
Yeah, I
whatever.
feel like
And then,
we didn't really discuss the fact that her dad is now. I didn't see. I've never seen Homecoming all together. I've seen it like in parts. I just never caught it like in one run. Did we ever discuss her dad being in jail and that affecting her or not? Because I
Nope.
feel like that might play a part in her weirdness for this film, but I feel like it was never really discussed.
No, it probably definitely does play a role in her character and her personality, but no, that's never been talked about. And then in the Tobey Maguire series, we just saw that her dad was kind of a douchebag, yelled
Yeah,
at
dad was a
her, and
verbally
blah blah
abusive a
blah.
hole.
Yeah, and then she didn't exist in Garfield series, and then here we don't hear about anybody, any of her relatives really.
Yeah, according to a friend of ours,
But
Tony
that
Tony.
might be soon to come eventually. What I say about what I say about Jake Gyllenhaal was I loved him in it. Spider Man comes out a bigger, better superhero in my opinion. He's sure of himself. He's not. I don't think he looks at himself quite as a kid anymore, but he still wants to have like his kid stuff. He wants to enjoy high school. He has pretty much a girlfriend. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Okay, Christine, I just got your text. We got like 10 minutes left. We'll catch it on the next one. Okay. Apparently, we're both coming in a little too hot.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Christine. Sorry.
We appreciate the critique, but yeah, I
We
like the
appreciate
whole.
it.
They did a good job with the next phase of the MCU, balancing
Hmm.
that with
Number four.
Peter still wants to be a kid. Peter still has a
Hmm.
crush, and then Peter has to take over for all of his idols who he just met, and now they're all gone. So
Right.
they had a lot of storylines that they did a good job of wrapping into one. And also like
Hmm.
the MJ scene at the end was heartwarming.
Right. Yeah. No, it definitely was. And I'm honestly really glad with how it ended. Even the end credit scenes was like,
Before
whoa.
we get to that, tell me you did not think of Spider-Man 2 in the Funhouse level when we saw the when Peter had to fight Mysterio and
Oh.
when
Oh,
they had
absolutely.
the whole Funhouse, we had to fight the other
Yeah.
Spider-Man as they kept
Hmm.
jumping them only to find out it's not real, and then zombie Iron Man came to attack.
Oh man, that freaked me out.
It freaked me out, but I literally thought, this is literally like paying homage to the video game where you have to run through the funhouse, fight the Spider-Man clones, you get attacked by like
Exactly.
funhouse mirror versions of yourself, and then he sees like all his worst nightmares. Only difference is that this Mysterio was a threat. That Mysterio literally got one punched and it was game over.
Nah, that's true. Oh man, it's funny how you think about the games after everything. But just so we can get into Phase Four real quick, I give Spider Man honestly like 9.5 out of 10. Definitely recommend it for anybody, especially if you're not. If you're a Marvel fan, great. If you're not a Marvel fan, great. Go see it anyway. You'll definitely love it. Something to bring the kids to.
Yeah, I really first off, best part of the whole film was the end when he finally trusts his spider sense, because just like in the second film, his emotional issues were tying into whether or not he could use his powers. So with all his stress, it's
I,
messing with his spider sense again, which we call it the Peter Tingle according to Aunt
mhm.
May. So the fact that he finally trusted at the end, and he
Come
has
on, Tingle.
the fact that he has that epic scene at the end where he finally trusts himself again and does that whole fight with his eyes closed and no webs whatsoever was crazy. 10 out of 10, perfect. This is like the perfect summer film to go see. Like anyone can go see it,
Yeah.
young, old, whatever.
My favorite part just from that scene, I agree, it was the best scene in the whole movie. My favorite part is when he's talking to Gyllenhaal. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Pierre," blah blah blah, and then he goes like with
Dog,
his
I
arm like,
really thought like I'm like maybe I'm like this has got to be it. I thought he was gonna pull a gun from like behind him. I'm like maybe this is a trap. So when the gun comes out of like nowhere, I'm just like he was still going for the kill.
I know that was the most badass part to
I
me
had to
right
watch
there.
it a second
Um,
time though because I was confused as to whether or not he actually got hit.
no, he didn't.
So then how did he kill? So I'm saying like when he actually keeled over in the movie, is he still around?
I think he was arrested because he didn't die. I
I could
don't
have
think he
swore
died.
he died on the bridge and then Peter just left the body there like they tend to do in every MCU film.
See, I don't think this Peter's like that. But 9.5 out of 10, 10 out of 10. You say 10 out of 10 for
Yeah.
sure. Um, Great movie, guys. You should definitely go see it.
Do we want to
On
discuss
to
the end
Phase 4 real
credits?
quick. Yeah. The end. dude, that scene blew my
Okay,
mind,
yeah, first
man.
one. First one. First off, I'm glad that we have Buddy back as a J. Jonah Jameson, Spider-Man 3: The Rise of JJ, the new villain. I'm excited for it. But no Spider-Man in Phase 4.
Phase 4.
No Spider-Man titles.
Oh man,
No tie-ins,
no
no
Spider Man.
features. Oh,
Not yet though, because it's going into. I believe I sent you the schedule. I think the latest movie is still 2021.
yeah, so it's only
So
2
that's
years in the
only two
future, but
years
people were
into
just
it.
like, are we not getting a Spider-Man 3? I'm just like, well, given that ending, which I was confused the first time because I'm like, when did he even do this? And then I realized the scientist dude, probably went and altered the footage, which is why he had that flash drive. So when he did his
Hmm.
Iron Man move of what was it, the clean slate protocol, where he got rid of all the drones, and they
Yeah,
edited that footage to make it sound like he was murdering people in the background. And then the
yeah.
big reveal at the end when he blew the whistle, and they end that movie the same way Spider-Man Homecoming ended, with the what the and then just cut to end credits. So like, does he have to just go into
Hmm.
hiding now? Because he got his life back, only to lose it even worse now.
I know, dude. Oh my god. Well, right before we send it off on Phase 4, here's the main thing I want you. We gotta tell everybody. Okay, I mentioned that my favorite things about that, the biggest things to me from Phase 4, Thor 4, Thor: Love and Thunder is bringing back Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, and Chris Hemsworth. And Taika Waititi is gonna direct this one as well. So you already know it's gonna be funny as hell.
And this is gonna be that's a
You
film,
already
right? Not
know
a
that,
show.
right? Natalie Portman is gonna play Lady Thor in
If
that
we're doing
movie.
Lady Thor, I wonder if we get Beta Ray Bill, because people have been wanting him for a while too.
Right. Well, we'll see. The biggest thing he said was Thor 4, and then Natalie Portman will play Lady Thor. So they're bringing her back. And then Blade was the second one that really came off the screen for me because I loved the Blade series with Wesley Snipes. I know it could have been a little better. Even Marvel kind of claims it as like the unofficial start for Marvel with his comic book references and
Yeah,
everything.
Blade was the first one that made them show, okay, Marvel movies can pop, and we can try a series with a mainstream hero. And then they tried Spider-Man, and it worked. And then Daredevil flopped.
Right. And now, what really made me excited for, Mahershala Ali
No,
is
yeah,
going to be the
Cottonmouth
new Blade.
from Luke Cage is officially Blade, and I hope that Wesley Snipes at least gets. Now that Stanley's gone, I think we should give like the comic writers or OG artists or whoever played them in the first. Those should be the cameos we do now, because I hope Wesley Snipes gets some love.
I don't know, man. I heard he's kind of an asshole on set.
Some people are. I've heard stories, but I he still deserves that much. Blade.
I agree. I agree. He should do a cameo, maybe as himself, just you know, some like time lapse or something. They could do it with this one
Yeah.
too.
I'm
Um,
excited for the future of the MCU. I don't know what the hell Nick Fury is doing with that end credit scene. That I have so many questions that we do not have time for. So next week, are we doing Lion King?
Next week we are talking about the Lion King. I hear it's great. It came out to like $185 million
I've been listening to the
weekend
soundtrack
debut.
all week. Thank you, Beyonce.
Yes, thank you, Beyonce, Donald Glover, Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, James Earl Jones, OG, Mufasa. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about it. We can't wait to see it. Um, any last words, Safari?
This has been the Theater Goers. You have 60-minute suspension coming up next. We got to get out of here. We're getting ready to cut the feed. So it's been real. Peace
All
out. Love talking about the stuff with
right,
y'all.
guys.
Follow us
See you
on all
next
social
week. The
media.
Lion King, Tony, Safari. We out.